where Nigeria must face head-on the challenge of insecurity in the Northeast so that we can use the place for advantage. A lot of analysts has talked about it. I was listening to Falola yesterday in one of the podcasts, a very renowned professor of politics and talking about ethnicity, democracy, and how the trilogy of our politics of the pre-independence era had led us to where we are, and the expansionist ambition of some people to take over certain parts of the country, which is the struggle over resource. So Nigeria, as a state, must wake up to its responsibility, ensuring that that place is free.
This is SOUQ Business Landscape. Now, Nigeria has offered investors oil blocks in the Lake Chad Basin as part of its latest licensing round. Now, despite the region's long-running insurgency, the move signals the government's determination to unlock hydrocarbon potentials in frontier basins to boost reserve and revenue. The Lake Chad Basin, spanning part of the northeastern Nigeria, has been heavily affected by years of insecurity linked to insurgent activity. Now, analysts say the security situation may or has historically discouraged exploration, raised operating costs, and delayed development of prospective assets in the area. Regulators said the blocks are being offered under stricter licensing conditions aimed at attracting technically capable and financially strong investors. Okay, dear Doc, the Niger Delta used to be relatively very, very quiet and calm. Then the oil blocks came. A lot of development came within the oil sector, not within the communities. We also saw a lot of security movement into that particular region, be it security formation, barracks, that of military, police, and other security agents. If these blocks happen to be taken in that particular area, talking about the Lake Chad Basin, do you see security improving in that place? Or do you see people shying away or leaving or not participating because of the insurgency there?
Well, I don't think people will shy away. If reports that we hear, even from credible individuals, anything to go by. I remember listening to Adams Oshomole, for example. I'm trying to remember his name now. This Abacha man who wanted to become president the other day.
Ahmed Mustafa.
Mustafa, yes. Argues that what is fueling the insecurity in the Northeast and Northwest, actually, the presence of rare earth minerals. That people are using the insecurity as a front to exploit those mineral resources almost at no cost, to the disadvantage of the Nigerian state. So we already have people who are investors who are doing mining in those areas.
Legally or illegally?
So they're already there doing business, and they are protected
by
the insurgents.
Okay.
They are protected by the insurgents. And they gave them the room to do whatever thing they are doing, and they are collecting the royalties from this operator.
Non-state actors.
Non-state actors. Don't forget, there was a report that made the round last year that in 2025, these people receive taxes worth over $150 million from both farmers and people who are operating in that region. That's some money that's getting into the hands of criminals. So I think that we, as a country, must have to double up and not allow people to take undue advantage of the resources that God had given to us collectively. Where Nigeria must face head on the challenge of insecurity in the Northeast so that we can use the place for advantage. A lot of analysts has talked about it. I was listening to Falola yesterday in one of the podcasts, a very renowned professor of politics, and talking about ethnicity, democracy, and how the trilogy of our politics of the pre-independence era had led us to where we are, and the expansionist ambition of some people to take over certain parts of the country, which is the struggle of our resource. So Nigeria, as a state, must wake up to its responsibility, ensuring that that place is free. And if there's value in that place, I know states actually go in there. We see that, of course, even in the heart of the Congo area, and America has moved in right now to do business. We saw how they have moved into Venezuela now to stabilize whatever thing that's happening in there and make the oil to work for the people. So if there is value seen, if there are value seen in the Sahel environment, I think, of course, the government or those who are interested can actually move in and stop the crime happening right there, and then we can do business lawfully.
Okay. The oracle is saying if there is value, I know he's speaking rhetorics because we know that there is value. If there are no value, we won't have a lot of gunmen protecting a few. Now, let's look at it from this other side. The Niger Delta has always seen it as, over the years, we've been the region providing this particular resource to the country. Now, for the first time, we are seeing oil blocks from the Chad Basin going up for bidding. Do you see a shift in that thought pattern? Do you see a shift in the economic pattern also? And you see a shift in development?
If I'm going to give a very direct answer, I would say no, because nothing really that is happening right now is different from what has been happening. I did my law school over there in that environment. So when I was going down there, I was hoping to see skyscrapers, see cars fly, based on the resource that they have there. So it just tells you that resources alone don't attract investment. Clarity, safety does. Frontier basin licensing is lawful. However, we should start expecting a robust demand from the investors when it comes to force majeure and safety guarantees. Because at the end of the day, it's not just to have this resource there; it's to be able to do these things in a safe environment. Because the amount of produce that they lose every day because of the insecurity over there also is something that should be looked into, and it affects the economy one way or the other. The Venezuelan government, or should I say the communication team, did mention that they made about $500,000 or $500 million from the produce of their oil and all of that, and 300 goes to them and 200 goes to the US. Well, that shows one way or the other that something is working. Because
working for who? The government or the US?
The government the Venezuelan government. Okay. Because at the end of the day, the scope is that this resource was not properly managed. So, and when we talk about proper management, we're talking about security, we're talking about waste, and we see a lot of waste in this side of Nigeria. So, if we're talking about economic strategy, then this waste must be blocked generally.
Yeah, but I am actually an advocate of sometimes conspiracy theory. The fact that you go to Bayelsa, you didn't see those structures does not mean that they are not in Abuja, that they are not in Lagos, and they are not in London.
Of course.
You see, but we have to deliberately keep that place underdeveloped.
Okay. Are you telling us that the product, the earnings, the revenue that came from the Bayelsa now build the skyscrapers in these other places?
And I should not take care of the people of that environment.
Yeah, don't put words into my mouth.
I like the fact that Doctor mentioned that, because he has a fact. Yeah, this resource, of course, can be used to take care of other states, but it's a benefit. When we talk about Nigeria,
I'm not even talking about. What I'm saying is that the fact that when you get to Bayelsa, you don't see skyscraper, does not mean that Bayelsans don't have skyscrapers in Abuja, in Port Harcourt, or in Lagos,
But Doc,
or in Dubai.
You should be there. You should not be in Dubai. You should be in Bayelsa.
Yeah, but you see,
You should start from there.
you have to understand the psychology, how these things work.
You are taking us to terrains we don't know.
Toby, this is what it is.
All right, sir.
A friend of mine gave me an analysis of something that happened some years ago, and he was telling me that a certain man was appointed as UBEC chairman. And he went to a media house and they asked him, what are you going to do in this state to change everything? And he said, if I don't achieve anything in my tenure, I should be able to delist my state from educationally disadvantaged states.
Okay.
I don't want that name, a tag on our state that we are educationally disadvantaged. So if that is all I achieve, I've done well. And he told me, as soon as his father left the TV station where he made this statement, some people were waiting for him at home. And when he came in, they asked him, I said, we saw you on the television. What you said. Do you really mean that thing? I said, yeah, that is what I want to achieve. And he said, well, this status, this is what he gives to us. How are you now going to be giving us that resource? And the man was dumbfounded. And he said a few months later, they sent a note to him that he needed to send some money somewhere. And he was not willing to comply. And 2 days later, his resignation letter came out in the public. Now, why am I telling these stories? Is the fact that we need to keep that place
Underdeveloped.
so that we can continue to use it as a legitimate excuse to take resource from people. This is the challenge that we are dealing with. And this is why I said that the problem we face as a nation is more of a moral crisis.
Okay. Dear Doc, I know you're going to continue this. You're going to continue this submission. But
Yes,
can
actually.
we ask on behalf of this table, who are those keeping the place
Underdeveloped.
You see, they are the same indigene of the place. That's why I'm saying that the fact that you didn't see those skyscrapers in Bayelsa does not mean that the Bayelsans
And not doing it outside.
are not building skyscrapers elsewhere.
So the
what I mean.
underdevelopment is a tool
It's a tool.
to attract. Okay.
My friend works with Traco, and some years ago he told me and he said, look, this East-West Road will not be finished in our lifetime. And I asked him why. And he told me that, look, if government give you mobilization today, the entire community come to the street to come and collect their own share of the mobilization. So this is what is happening.
Okay.
So when people blame government over everything that we are not seeing, sometimes you also see that the hands of the government are tied. No matter how autocratic that government will be. We remember Ibrahim Babangida, who says his hands were tied, that some certain decisions he could not make because some powers that be would not allow those decisions to be made. Even as a military leader, let alone talking about democratic leader who wants to win elections tomorrow. So you find that there are realities around us that may not actually define the circumstances or the situations where we find ourselves. So whether we like it or not, the same method that works for those in the Niger Delta, which is the point I'm trying to make, is the same thing that's going to work in the Northeast when this exploration starts. They are going to have their own militant, which is going to be different from the current insurgency that we are dealing with. And these militants would need to build university, either in Niger or Mali or Burkina Faso, like we have seen in the Niger Delta. So these are the things that we are dealing with. You see, righteousness is what exalts a nation. Sin becomes a reproach to any people. And until the moral rectitude of our nation is set in order, a lot of things may not necessarily go right.